Every day, the world is shaken by news of tragedies. We see them in the headlines, discuss them on social media, sympathize, and collect aid. But what if I told you that there are disasters that happen constantly, claiming lives but remain almost unnoticed by the global community? Somewhere out there, at the very top of the world, a snow-capped mountain holds its terrible secrets, and the world prefers to ignore them. Everest, the dream of thousands, a symbol of human resilience and overcoming adversity. Every year, hundreds of people storm this giant peak, striving to touch the sky. But behind every successful ascent lies the shadow of risk, cold, and often death. The statistics are terrifying. More than 300 people have died on the slopes of Everest. These are not just numbers. These are someone's sons, daughters, fathers, and mothers. And many of them still lie there, frozen in time, like eerie landmarks for future generations. So why don't these tragedies cause as much of a stir as, say, a train crash or a building collapse? There are several reasons. Reason one, secrecy. Everest tragedies occur far from civilization, high in the mountains where there are no television cameras or journalists. There are few witnesses. Information arrives slowly and is often filtered. Reason two, selective assistance. Rescue operations on Everest are extremely difficult and incredibly expensive. It is almost impossible to retrieve a body from a great height. In conditions where every minute counts and oxygen is running out, painful decisions often have to be made to save the living or to try to recover the dead. Reason three, their choice. There is a view that these people chose their path themselves, aware of the risks. They knew what they were getting into. This phrase often becomes a shield for society, relieving it of the responsibility to empathize. But it's not just about logistics and distance. There are deeper psychological and social reasons. Reason four, other people's tragedies. Deaths on Everest affect a relatively small group of people, professional climbers or very wealthy enthusiasts. These people are perceived as detached from everyday life, and their problems seem distant. Reason five, information noise. In today's world, we're overwhelmed with information. For something to break through this noise, it must be either sensational, mass market, or directly relevant to our daily lives. Deaths on Everest rarely meet these criteria. Reason six, lack of an enemy. Most tragedies have some kind of enemy: injustice, human error, natural forces that can be defeated. On Everest, the enemy is the mountain itself, nature, which cannot be defeated, only respected. This is more difficult to sell to an audience. Ignoring these tragedies has a price. It devalues lives. Behind every frozen body, every abandoned tent, there is a story, a dream, a family waiting or mourning. These are not just climbers. They are people, and their lives and deaths matter. Perhaps if we paid more attention to these stories, we would not only pay tribute to the dead, but also force the mountain tourism industry to be more responsible, and those who set out for the summit to be more cautious. The next time you see a headline about a new tragedy, pause for a moment. Think about those whose suffering remains behind the scenes, whose stories don't make the news. Perhaps somewhere out there, at the very top of the world, or anywhere else on the planet, a tragedy is unfolding that deserves our attention, our sympathy, our concern.